So as I was saying, we were making sure that the family stayed together like every day that week, like as the week was finishing. And we ended up arranging my grandfather's funeral and everything. So we went to Applebee's the same day that he died to have a dinner with the whole family through this tough time. And on October 2nd and 3rd, me and my brothers took off from school because we were devastated and we didn't want to go to school while facing a tragic loss here. My grandfather was one of the hardest losses we ever dealt with. And my family came back over again on October 2nd. And they spent the whole day there, which was really important. And then they left again. And then the third rolls around and we go to the wake and we spend the whole day there. And a lot of our friends were there and a lot of our family was there. Mostly my mom and dad's friends. Only my friend Nick showed up because I don't really bother telling my friends about wakes and funerals. I don't really tell them about it or give them information because I kind of like to keep funerals and wakes as just the family. I kind of like to keep the funerals and the wakes of my family's passing between me and my family because it's like too sad, and it's best if I keep the wakes and the funerals between me and family when I'm dealing with a family loss. I kind of feel it gets to the point where I kind of feel shy of inviting my other friends to the wakes and funerals because it's really a sad occasion. I like to be with my friends during happier occasions, you know? Yeah, it was only Nick that showed up to my grandfather's wake. I didn't tell anybody else about it because I kind of like to keep my other friends out of the tragedy of my family members passing and out of the sadness it was creating for everyone. Yeah, I was trying to be a good friend by keeping them protected from all the sadness that was going on in there at the funeral home. So yeah, we had two visitations at the wake, and the next morning it was Saturday, October 4th, 2014, and that was the day of the funeral for my grandfather. It was held at the Our Lady of Grace Church in West Babylon, like right near where the train tracks are for the Central Branch. And the funeral started that morning, and we were at the church saying our prayers and stuff. And then we went to the cemetery for the burial. And I gotta say, it was a really, really tough day that day for all of us. It was a really, really sad day. And believe it or not, the weather was also bad. There was so much rain coming down and the wind was whipping. Like, we were having the funeral on the day of a very bad storm. And at the cemetery, we were just drenched. The rain was coming down pretty heavy and the wind was whipping. And when we got back in the car after we did our prayers, we were all drenched and we headed straight for the restaurant he used to enjoy eating at. We went to the South Bay Diner in Lindenhurst, and that used to be my grandfather's favorite diner, and me and the family were eating there to honor his memory. Yeah, we had a breakfast there with me and the family, or lunch, just to remember him. For the memory of my grandfather, we ate at his favorite diner for breakfast or lunch for the memory of him. Yeah, I don't really go to that diner as much as I used to anymore. I was recently there back in March, but that was pretty much it. And there were, and then Sunday, October 5th rolls around, and it was just a quiet day in the house. It was like really upsetting. We were all just really sad that day, and the whole house was just quiet. Not to mention, October 2014 was actually one of those years we didn't put up any Halloween decorations because we were all sad of my grandfather's passing. Yeah, we decided to skip that year of putting up Halloween decorations because we were all so sad because my grandfather wasn't around anymore. This was the first Halloween around my grandfather, and we actually had to spend our first Thanksgiving around my grandfather in 2014, and this was also our first Christmas around my grandfather. And Easter 2015, it was the first Easter without him. And we actually did go to the cemetery 2 other times before the end of 2014. One being in early October, like 5 days after the funeral, and then we went to the cemetery like towards the end of October, like on a Sunday, like after church. Yeah, it was like a really harsh ending to 2014. It was like these are one of the reasons why I didn't really like my 8th grade year that much in middle school. I didn't really like middle. These are like one of the reasons why I didn't like middle school and 8th grade because of my grandfather's passing. And I went through so much that year I couldn't even count. It was like a tough year for all of us, and it was like a hard road to recovery for all of us. And April 1st of 2015 was the 6 month mark. And then in 2015, in September 2015, like 10 days into my 9th grade year, we actually had a memorial game for him. It was like an old timers game in Queens. Like we did a baseball game to remember him. And the first anniversary of his passing was October 1st, 2015. And it was actually the day after I went to a Rangers preseason game in 2015 against the Boston Bruins on September 30th. Yeah, 9th grade actually, we actually took it much better in 9th grade than we did in 8th grade because we were all sad that he was gone. But we were starting to heal like once I was in 9th grade, and it was starting to get better for us. But we were still sad, but it was much better for us then. And what I do know is that 2019 marked the 5 years of its passing, and now we're 10 years later, and it's now been 10 years without him. Today is the 10th anniversary of my grandfather's passing, and it's been a really sad day for all of us. It's the grandfather who was a Yankees fan and everything, and he loved all his family, of course, and he would do almost anything for them. Yeah, it's still sad that he's gone, but we definitely got much better since then. The last 10 years. It's sad that he's gone, but he will always love us, and we remember him for who he is, and he would do anything for us. And I bet he's watching his Yankees right now in heaven. So yeah, it's been a hard day for all of us because it's been 10 years without my grandfather, a whole decade. And I guess that's it. Bye.